Hello my beautiful friends. Welcome back to my channel. This is Andrea Fontana Beauty. If you are new here, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. And if you have been here before, I thank you for coming back. I'm really excited for this video, mainly because it's been one of my favorite videos to watch recently. So I figured, why not film one myself? I've never filmed this video before. And I'm very excited. As you can tell by the title, this is my top 10 palettes that I used this year. So disclaimer, these aren't necessarily palettes that came out in 2022. They are not palettes that necessarily I purchased in 2022. They are just palettes that I have really enjoyed using. The top 10, basically, both on clients and on myself. Actually, a lot of them on clients, because I mean, that's majority of the makeup I do is on other people. So I think that's really helpful for you to know, because that means that I think it works on a large number of skin types, eye shapes, that sort of thing, skin tones. So they're definitely versatile. As a reminder, I do a lot of bridal makeup, so you'll see a lot of neutrals in this. These are the 10 palettes that I really loved using. I created this look in my last video as like a potential New Year's Eve look, and I'll tell you what shadow, only my the shade on my lid, the sparkly topper, is in this, because I was using other makeup. But also I'll have it down below what's on my lips, because I'm loving it. If I was gonna go somewhere besides my couch on New Year's Eve, this is what I would do, because I really like it. But yeah, that video will be linked down below if you want to see how I did it. Warning, it's very chaotic. Lighting was not great. Maybe I should just film my videos right here, because this lighting is impeccable and I have absolutely no lighting set up. So I don't know, maybe this will be my new spot. I'll just sit on the couch and film makeup tutorials now. Honestly, that sounds great. Maybe that'll be my 2023 thing. Anyways, let's not make this the longest intro of all time. I have them spaced out based on, if I can recall correctly, pricing. So we're gonna go drugstore all the way up to the most expensive, okay? It's like a guesstimate. I'd say half our drugstore, half our high end. They are in no particular order other than that. Like, it's not like, oh, these are my, the last one I share is my number one. Like, it's not a countdown or anything. Some of them came from my kit and I just did a trial, so they might be a little crazy looking. Anyways, we'll start with number one. This is a palette that I picked up, I think that early this year. I did not expect to fall in love with it as much as I did. I will say the packaging quality sucks, and I can see why it's so cheap, because I've already hit pan on one of the colors. I remember, I think I talked about this in a video. I hit pan on it after using it like 3 times. I'm like, that's not okay. So I think it's inexpensive because of how little product you get. I should actually compare it. Let's see, out of curiosity. Oh, that's kind of crazy. It has the same amount of colors as this, the second one I'm gonna show you. Same amount of colors, and it actually has more pigment. That's interesting. Okay, so confused. But anyways, this is the LA Girl VIP Desert Dream eyeshadow palette. Beautiful packaging, except for it breaking. I traveled with it a little bit. Oh, look. There's my Christmas tree. Let's see if I can show you this without breaking it more and blinding you. Here, we'll go like this. Okay, so this is the palette, obviously sideways. I really fell in love with it because, as you can see, there's a mauve, there's like a true rosy pink, a more gold, like warmer orangier, and then a yellow golden section. Fits the name perfectly. I really love the metallics. It's very easy to work with if you're looking for a palette maybe for a beginner that's easy to work with, or you're looking for those warmer tones. Highly recommend this one. Obviously, I will link all of them down below. I'm not sure if all of them are still available. In fact, I'm pretty sure that one of them is not available anymore. We'll get there. But this was, so pricing and all that will also be down below. But again, I just used this one a lot and I really liked it. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. And I think it's hard to find a drugstore palette, I mean, besides Juvia's Place and ColourPop, because I think they've kind of mastered it. But in my experience, if it's outside of those 2 brands, it's harder to find a palette where I really love the mattes and the shimmers. So I think they killed it with both in these. So that is the first one. The second one is, I think, the newest palette to me out of all of my palettes. And I'm honestly surprised at how much I love it, just because it's so bright. This is the only super colorful palette of the whole bunch. This is the Garden of Juvia's palette from Juvia's Place. As you can see, it is a pastel lover's dream. It's like a pastel rainbow. But I think the reason that I ended up loving it so much, like obviously when you look at it, you see purples, blues, pinks, you see like not neutrals, right? But like somehow I just like didn't really notice that there was these 3 shades down here, this peachy, this warm coppery tone, and then also honestly this one, Blossom, which is like a rose gold, and even Sunshine. Like there's some neutrally goldy tones that allow me to like make this a little bit more manageable, and like I don't know, I just wore it a lot more than I was expecting. I really love this shade, Oh Honey. Like that's a perfect one matte shade all over the lid look. Adored it. So if you're like wanting to kind of experiment with some pastels, highly recommend this one. I really enjoyed it. The next 2 are from Flower Beauty. I'm putting them in 2 separate spots because I truly do love one more than the other. They are the Jungle Lights and the Desert Lights palette. So we'll start with the Jungle Lights because this is the shade right here. This taupey lavender shade is actually what I have on my lids. I'll come closer. So I did a really warm terracotta crease, but then I popped this cool tone taupey shade on the lid, and I just love how it turned out. I'm obsessed with these. The formula is to die for. I keep them in my kit actually. I don't use them on myself that often because they are the perfect topper if you have like a whole eyeshadow look and you just want to like amp it up a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily call them a glitter. They're more of a metallic flaky shade, if you know what I mean. The texture is just a little different, but they're just amazing. And I really like the Jungle Lights one because this is like a little more colorful, but not like too intense. Like you could easily pop any of these on with really neutral matte shades and you could have like a dramatic look that's not neutral, but like not too colorful. It's like a gentle way to start experimenting with color, you know? I find that because they're so metallic-y and so flaky that when you put them all over the lid, it looks like you just, the dimension hits as if you've like done a bunch of shading and all of that and used a bunch of shadows, but it just depends. Like, can you see how like much dimension? That is one shade all over the lid, but like just depending on the way the light hits, they're phenomenal. And I said this in the video where I did this makeup look. If they keep making this formula, they keep putting out palettes, like I'm gonna buy every single one. So I think they're $20, so they're a little more expensive than like a typical drugstore palette, but my God, I am obsessed. So really love, this is again the shade Wild from the Jungle Lights palette that's on my lids, but this is Desert Lights, and this one is the one that I use more in my kit because I mean, as you can see, it's rose golds, glowy, warmer, like perfect bridal tones. I use this shade in the middle on top. This is Soul. I use that one a lot, and then I've also used, what is that? Not Mirage, Horizon. So those 2 are probably the 2 that I use the most on brides, but I've used them all and I absolutely love this one. They're so good. Creamy blendable texture. That's a really good way to describe them. They're weird because they like kind of feel like they're wet, but they're like very thin and flaky. I don't know how else to describe them. They're a unique texture. They're not like ColourPop shadows. They're, I don't know, they're unique in and of themselves and I adore them. Definitely gonna be checking out some more Flower Beauty eyeshadows in the new year because I'm loving them. This one is a palette that I use for a large majority of the year. This is the Smoke and Roses palette from ColourPop. It's my first big palette from ColourPop actually. And I was just really feeling it. I mean, look at, there are a few shades in here that are duplicates. Not duplicates, but they look different in the pan, but then on the eyes, they give pretty much the same look, but there's just so much to work with here. I mean, we go all the way from super pale all the way to super dark. I love some of these tones down here. These mattes are stunning. I like how there's like cool tone rosy colors, but then there's like warmer rosy, more terracotta side of it. So again, this is a personal one. I haven't put this in my kit, so I've never used this on clients, but I found it really easy, great for every day. If you like rosy tones, like I can't recommend that one enough. I hope they're still making it. It also makes me want to try the larger ColourPop palettes more. Not that I need more, but I was really happy with this one. So those are the 5 more like drugstore lower end pricing. Now we're getting into higher end. The first one that I have here, I hope it's still available. I'm not sure if it is, but it's by Huda Beauty and it's the Toffee Brown palette. Let me show you here. Clearly you can see the amount of use I've gotten out of this guy. I really love the shimmers. I love the neutral mattes. I love the caramely, like toffee is such a good name for it. Like the carameliness to it. It just made for some really pretty, beautiful, summery, bronzy, natural looks for my brides. I love the mattes. They honestly all had really great payoff, and I just really like these little 9-pan. I know that some of them are hit or miss, so I'm like kind of hesitant to purchase them sometimes. I kind of like to wait it out and see what other people's opinions on them are, because I find that the formula isn't consistent, but I really love this one and used it on a lot of clients this year. Next up, we have 2 small mini Natasha Denona palettes. The first one is looking very sad. Can we see? This is the mini glam. She's looking really sad because she's been very used. I probably need to buy a new one in the new year. I have pan in 3 of the 3 shimmers and a very big dips in the matte shades. I just find that this is like my go-to formula for Mother of the Brides or anybody with texture on their lids. I love how natural these shadows, like I'm able to create a very simple, classic, natural look for a mom or anyone, honestly, who doesn't wear a lot of makeup, which is what I really like about these. They're so easy to work with and they're never jarring. They're just really beautiful. The shimmers aren't too shimmery, so they don't highlight texture, which is why I like them for anybody with textured lids or any fine lines. But yeah, they're beautiful. Like I just love creating looks from this one on clients, it's definitely my most used palette, which is why it is so beat up and sad looking. So we'll definitely be buying another one of these in the new year. And then my other one here, this is the Natasha Denona Mini Gold palette. As you can see, I am obsessed with the gold shade in the middle. It is just the perfect true gold. It is the shadow that I based my entire look around for the night before party for my wedding. I got married in April and it was just it's my perfect gold. Not too yellow, but like bold enough. It's just absolutely stunning. And when somebody tells me they really like gold eyeshadow, I tend to go for this on clients. So I am picking this palette based solely on this gold shade, but I also love the greens. Actually, this is really funny. Now that I'm looking at it, I haven't even swatched the other colors. I didn't realize that. I mean, I love a good army. We need to use this more in 2023 on myself. Maybe I need to buy a separate one for myself because those olive greens, totally a vibe and I really need to use it. I don't know why I haven't. So yeah, those 2, I love Natasha Denona. That's not the last you'll be seeing of Natasha Denona in this video, but let's move on. We have 3 left. This one I'm pretty positive is discontinued and I'm really sorry about that, but the good news is it does make me want to try more shadows of hers in the new year. I think I'm definitely going to be looking to potentially add another one of her palettes to my kit because I'm obsessed with this one. I was not expecting it. And I think it's because I normally am very hesitant to fall in love with influencer brands because I know that a lot of people buy them because they obviously want to support their favorite YouTubers or influencers, whatever. And I love that. But I don't know. I don't always know that they're going to be the best formulas and I just can't support everybody, right? So it takes me a second to like, again, I mentioned this earlier with the Huda Beauty ones. Like I just like to kind of see what the consensus is on certain brands when they're new, and then I will go in and buy them. But I mostly bought this one because I really wanted the bright, is it Candyland? What is that one called? The really bright rainbow one that she did with her niece, Erin. That one I really like. It's rainbowy, it's really fun. But I want to say this one was maybe on sale. This is the Nudie Patootie. Sorry, that was I teased you for a while there. The suspense. I want to say it was on sale or something. I don't know. Regardless, look how beat up this palette is. It has been used. Honestly, I'm shocked I haven't hit pan on any of the shadows. But the reason that this one has made it to the 2022 top 10 palettes is because it is so easy to work with. You know how you have those eyeshadows that you blend out and they just like blend so easily and they just look so soft and buttery and just like delicious on the eyes. I mean, if you're watching this, you probably love makeup, so you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But makeup artists especially, like, you know when something is like this on somebody's eyes. And like, how do I explain it? I use it on so many different, like I said, skin tones, eye types, eye shapes, textures, like so many different types of clients that I'm just like, I know that if I'm not quite sure what I want to use on somebody, like this has become my go-to because I just know it's always gonna look so good. So I know that it's equal parts formula and color story, so that's why I'm saying I want to try another one from her. I wish that before they discontinued it, I would have bought a second one just like to have a backup because I know I'm gonna be sad once this one's gone. But I love, oh my gosh, the combination of this warm caramely shade in the crease and then this cool toned shadow on the lid. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I don't know. I love all of the shadows in this and I use it a lot on my clients. We're down to the last two. I'm gonna save my favorite palette. Okay, I said that these weren't in any particular order ranking wise. But I will say I'm gonna save my favorite for last because it's without a doubt my favorite palette of the year because I used it the most. Used it on my wedding day on myself, which I rarely take palettes out of my kit to use on myself, so that's a big deal. That says a lot. But first off, now I recognize that these two palettes are very expensive. I think they're $129 each, which to some of you may be like, what? But hear me out. If you are a makeup artist and you love the Natasha Denona formula, it's worth it, right? Like cost per use, I use these palettes so freaking much. I just gave you a sneak peek. So this one is the Lila palette and you might be surprised when you see it because I mean, yeah, I like purples, but when I tell you these right here, these 5, so these 3 on the end and then these top 2, I have used those 5 palettes on so many eye looks. These 3 right here on the end here, these 3 mauve tones, that is like my go-to Mother of the Bride look because a lot of Mother of the Brides will wear navy, eggplant, burgundy, somewhere in that family, or even like a slate gray or something. And this just always complements what they're wearing without being too matchy-matchy. And depending on like how much, like sometimes I just do these 2 and it will give the most gorgeous natural Mother of the Bride, like fancier than they would ever wear in everyday life but not too much look. Sometimes if they like a little more makeup, this will deepen it up, but it's like the perfect mauve eye that looks natural on a mom. I'm obsessed with it. I would rebuy this palette just to have those shadows, those 5 shadows. I would do that, which is crazy. I'm aware of how crazy that sounds, but I love this palette and I'm really happy that I bought it. I think I got it for half off. I think I bought all my I have 4 big Natasha Denona palettes and I bought them all on Black Friday last year because they were like 50% off or 60% off. So I definitely got this for like 60 something dollars. So I did not pay the full $129. Would I pay the full $129 again? Absolutely. I love this palette. It's a really good pink purple. If you're into purples, pinks, mauves, it's good. Put it on your Christmas list for next year. All right, and now the moment you've been waiting for, my favorite palette of the year. When I tell you this palette is used, I'm kind of embarrassed. This is the Natasha Denona Biba palette. I have makeup on me from it. Let's see if I can hold this up without getting it everywhere. We'll go like this. You guys, it's a disaster right now. I literally just used it and I need to sanitize it. But this is just the most beautiful palette ever. Like it's my ideal situation. So it has all the warm mattes. It's got the shade Monroe right here is the only one I've hit pan on. That one is absolutely perfection. I just like can't express to you. I actually might, so like the thing I love about these is you can totally pop out the shadows in the back and rearrange them. And I kind of want to take some of the, I don't know if I can get the Lila ones out because I think that package was made, or the packaging, that palette came out before she did this whole removable rearrange situation. It's the palette I wore on my wedding day. It is just, to me, it's got a dark shades. Tusk I use on everyone, which is this shade. There's a black, There's some gray cooler tones, the warmer matte browns. I mean, I can really create any warm bridal look that I need to with just this palette. If I could only do makeup with one palette, this is the palette that I would use for the rest of my life for clients. I adore it. I got it also for 50% off, but it's one that I will, when I use this up, I will repurchase this until they stop making it for my kit because I love it that much. Those are my 10 palettes of the year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any requests for the new year, this is most likely going to be my last one of the year. So I will see you in 2023. I'm excited for all the things that are to come for my channel. I have lots of ideas. I mentioned this in my last one, but I'm not getting married this year. I'm not buying a house this year. So we took those two things off the plate for 22, which kind of jolted my filming schedule, but we are going back at it in January in 2023, and we're gonna have a good, strong year, and I will be consistent again. So that's all I'm gonna say for that. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season, and I will see you in 2023. See you next time. Bye.